Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Eden Empire's channel. We're, of course, sitting here once again with Colt. And Colt, on the previous video, we got to know about your past a lot, kind of the origin of how this whole thing got started. But today, I want to know more about the actual business itself. How are you doing? Are you ready to get into it?
Oh, yeah. So thank you. I enjoyed that interview last time. And today I'm going to speak about being an entrepreneur, being able to see what's happening in the market and being able to pivot. So originally when Eden had set out, we have retail expertise. We got locations and we're focused on opening them. As other big companies got into the industry, the value of locations has gone up. So for us to participate and become a real player in this, an issue being is if we have to go buy these locations, it becomes rather cash intensive. And one of the things that really started to stand out for myself is we have the experience, the team, the training capabilities, all this stuff. And we had developed a franchise model for California before. So we really started to take a look at this, and we recognized that for us to get a massive footprint out real quick would be us using our expertise. And that is bringing in local stakeholders who own real estate, who own the license, and empowering them to become part of the Eden family under our franchise. So in Michigan right now, we have appointment meetings are coming in all the time now. We're starting to sign up some LOIs or supply agreements and getting into talks with retail partnerships down there. So this is going to allow for Eden to become a major player really quick. In Michigan right now, there's 400 plus dispensaries. It has the same sort of revenue projections as all of Canada, which is pretty cool. And you're looking at comparable companies down there like Gage, which is a massive company, but they have somewhere around 14 stores. So out of the 400, it's not a lot. They're big, they're huge, they're doing their thing. But for us now, if we're able to go out and get 10 franchise locations in a year, that puts us on the map as the second biggest player out there. There's a lot of mom and pops there right now. So it's kind of fresh for the picking. And there's a lot of interest in our brand because it is a street level brand. It connects with the real consumer. And how it works in Michigan is you need to have connections to supply for your own shops. And this is one of the things that we bring forward for our franchisees is kind of like a curated selection, let's say, is we go through the difficult part of finding out those good suppliers so you have access to them when you come onto the team. So essentially you expedite your whole process from being a person that may not know cannabis, maybe you're in liquor, real estate, those sort of things, to becoming more of an expert, let's say, by layering on top with Powered by Eden and getting into a place of success much quicker than you would have been trying to figure out this new industry on your own.
Okay, interesting. So you saw the way things are going in the US right now. And as you said, you saw there's a lot of potential here. And the market is humongous versus Canada. Like you said, Michigan alone is huge. And so you guys started pivoting. So tell us, what's the timeline on this? Like, what are you expecting to happen when or generally, so to speak?
So initial conversations are going really well. So like I said, the supply is all in place. It's coming up. There's new meetings all the time. Our retail side of it as a franchisee, those meetings have started now. There's going to be, as they come on board, you're going to see the news releases come out and stuff. So super excited there. Realistically, the first ones are going to take the longest, obviously, like anything. And once those are in place, things will get a lot more streamlined and we'll start to see these roll out really quick. So in the next 6 months, we're going to start to see a good foundation laid. And then we're going to watch some exponential takeoff, let's say, after that for the coming up year.
Interesting. Is there any sort of like current regulatory catalysts you see happening or anything that could change the way you bob and weave through this currently?
So on the Michigan side, we've gone through like state approvals and security clearances and stuff like that. The nice thing about the franchise, though, is while we move into other states, because we're not dealing with the actual cannabis, we're more or less like a training and marketing company that layers on top of you. So we do not need to go through the security clearances and stuff, which makes the company super nimble, makes us really mobile. One of the things came to mind, well, kind of like thinking about this pivot too, is in the art of war, when your enemy has armor and it has large guns and it doesn't move quick, you go in very light and you want to make sure that you're nimble. And that's how you compete with this. And this is what the franchise is going to do for us in competition with these other large companies that are heavily bankrolled and taking on liabilities like by buying locations and all this. The franchise puts us in a position where we don't have to get bogged down with all of that stuff.
Yeah, that's interesting. There's a lot less friction when you're not going up against those regulations constantly. And in the US, state by state, where things can be vastly different.
Yes.
Interesting. So I guess last but not least, so in this year, what are you personally like looking forward to the most to happen?
I see this Michigan getting a lot of traction. And from there, I see some other states coming on. We have really good partnership with our, they're not salesmen, we'll call them our point man down there. Super motivated, bringing a ton of people to the table. So I'm excited to watch that expand into other states and bleed out from there and start to see the Eden brand start to get a lot of recognition. I'm also excited about the German market. So we've started some talks out there, and Germany in particular has about a 15% consumption rate on their populace, whereas most places sit around 10%. So Germany in general smokes more cannabis, 50% more than most of the world, which is kind of cool. They also have their black market that existed before. It was 12 euros a gram. So while we move in there into that area, you're not really competing with the black market anymore, which seems to be one of the biggest competitors in cannabis in general. It's not necessarily the shop down the street. It's the fact that black market can always undercut you because you have to do your taxes and all this stuff. So in Germany, there's not going to be that issue. So for us getting into an arrangement there with our franchise and a retail partner, I could see being a major win for the company.
Wonderful. Well, Cole, I mean, obviously we encourage people to do their own research and such on this. Is there anything you would point to people trying to do their own research? What would you point them to in terms of directories and so on to kind of find out more on their own?
The internet. Spend your time, set up meetings, because like a lot of the times too, you can take what is written, right? But you're never going to get to hear about what's happening, right? So they can always say like, hey, we plan on coming through with these rules at this point. But if you start to get in phone calls with people and you start to get the lay of the land, it's almost like, you know, you can be in school or you could have an internship.
Yeah.
And there's always something about learning from people that might give you a bit of an advantage ahead of time. So conversations, having boots on the ground, those sort of things end up being a real advantage. And if you're really interested in how this stuff is moving forward, yeah, take some time, get on a phone call. Like, don't just let a web page kind of dictate to you where this industry is going to end up.
Yeah, very well said. And of course, you guys can always direct your questions here and we will answer them in video format as well. So that's one of the big benefits of this. So please, by all means, leave them. We'll happily answer them. But Cole, I think you did a pretty good job of getting a solid intro. And again, guys, we'll dive deeper into each individual section as we have more videos coming out and into more recent news releases. But Cole, again, thank you for coming on. Closing words or statements, anything else you think people should know today before we go?
Summer's almost here. I'm stoked.
That's optimistic. Optimistic in February, but I like it. So Cole, thank you again for coming on. Thank you everyone for watching. Stay tuned for more and have a wonderful day.